again, boys and girls. Welcome back to Weekly War Thunder. And no, you're not blind. That is an airplane. And yeah, I'm finally really starting to dig all the airplanes and aerial combat in War Thunder. Not saying that I'm good at it, but nevertheless, I am trying my hand at air combat, and I'm having some success. I am unlocking planes, as you can see right here. In the menu here, I've managed to unlock the Hurricane Mark 1 and the Blenheim Mark 4, as well as my Gladiator, which I featured in last week's episode. And I've also unlocked a premium aircraft, which I'm not sure which package that came with, but I don't remember ever buying that. But apparently I have a premium aircraft in the form of Tux Gladiator, but we'll talk about that later. Right now, what you're looking at on screen is the Hurricane Mark 1. I'm not sure if I'm really a big fan of this plane yet. I haven't had all that much success in it, but I'm really not that good of a player, you know. It was the first 8-gun monoplane fighter built by England, and monoplane meaning one wing instead of two. This was pretty much their first foray away from biplane design. It was built off the design of the Fury. There was minimal changes needed to actually make the changes. Pretty much what they did was take the existing fuselage and make the cockpit enclosed. They added the tail from the Fury on there. It was got 8 Browning machine guns on there, and it's a pretty reliable fighter. It was easy to maintain. It had a good turn rate at low altitude, and its survival rate was pretty high during the war. So all in all, it was really popular with the pilots. Not that popular with me, but this is a video game after all. In combat, it was proven pretty early on that the fabric covering of the wings needed to be replaced with metal, as well as adding bulletproof glass to the windscreen armor and a more powerful engine, which made it a lot more popular with its pilots. During the Battle of Britain, there was 32 squadrons of these things alongside 19 squadrons of Spitfires. And whereas the Spitfire was a more fast and agile craft, the Hurricane was not. So the battle doctrine was decided upon that the Spitfires would engage all the enemy fighters and the Hurricanes would engage enemy bombers, and it proved to be quite successful. So all in all, there was almost 15,000 of these things built during World War II, and it solidified itself in the annals of history. And it's really pretty to look at, if I don't say so, or if I do say so myself. It has some nice angles on there, and it's just when you think of a World War II fighter plane, this thing pretty much sums up what a World War II fighter plane should look like. So, without any further ado, let's jump into my actual, not my first game in this thing, because my very first game in this, I pretty much got rammed head on. So let's take a look at this thing's more successful outings. So here we are on a ground strike mission, which is like 95% of the missions that I play in War Thunder. And check out the interior cockpit. I haven't actually shown the inside of a cockpit yet in any of my videos, but the detail is beautiful. If I could actually be successful flying around using the interior view, I would. Like almost every single one of those instruments you saw, and the windscreen, once you fly through fog and clouds, starts to get a little bit cloudy and stuff. But every single one of those instruments down there works, so it's pretty sweet. We're closing in on the enemy here. I'm trying to pick my spot, decide which guy to go after first. Looks like I've chosen a target. Going after that I-16 over there. And I have no idea I still don't know what these destinations are here. Head-on pass. Oh, it's so risky. And I got my first kill. I absolutely hate going head-on against enemy planes. It's like I pick a fighter to go after, and it's like 90% of the time they just turn straight into me and ram me. That's just War Thunder for you. Diving down low now, about 500 meters off the ground, engaging targets. This is where it's supposed to have a really good turn rate. However, this is a new crew, a new pilot, and his G tolerance isn't really all that great. So down at low altitude, I'm finding I'm not as successful as I should be in this plane. And as you can see, my aim is still not exactly up to par as I'm shooting up that Fury there. And I am using a wireless mouse. I probably need to change the batteries out of it. Climbing to engage that 15R and taking fire from something, doing a little roll here, going back into a dive. On the way down here, I'm going to engage some of these ground targets, and unfortunately, I'm only managing to score a hit, not taking one out. The AA ground units now shooting up my wings. Not sure if that's an enemy plane or the ground target at this point, but take a look behind me. Yep, I got a biplane on my ass. And as much as I hated flying the biplanes in the early goings of my my time playing War Thunder, I find that having a biplane on my butt is a huge pain in the ass because you just cannot shake them. Their turn rate is so much better than mine. Coming down on this other plane now, still taking hits. My wings are getting chewed up pretty bad, as well as my fuselage. You can see all the battle damage there. Doing a double roll, trying to maybe throw him off or have to second guess where I'm going into a climb. He's still on me. He's far more agile than I am. There's nothing I can really do about it at this point. Going back down low, and now I can't pull up. My wings have suffered too much damage, and down I go. Fast forwarding a little bit, this is the second aircraft I jumped into. Same battle. This one is the premium one I talked about earlier. This is Tuck's Gladiator, Mark II. Mr. Tuck, Mr. Robert Tuck, was a British RAF pilot during World War II. He entered service in 1935, and by 1942, he was credited with 29 enemy aircraft kills, as well as 2 assists, as well as an additional 6 enemy aircraft damaged. So, he was a pretty accomplished pilot. But in 1942, he was shot down in France. He was forced to make a crash landing where he was captured by the Germans. He was taken prisoner for 3 years until he met... Jesus, nice. See, as I said there, yeah, saying, it seems like almost every time I lock onto an enemy craft, they just turn straight at me. That narrowly avoided death there. But he was held prisoner by the Germans for 3 years, until he managed to escape in 1945, where he met up with the approaching Red Army, which in many cases was not exactly a better set of circumstances than being held prisoner by the Germans. But nevertheless, he was returned to his homeland shortly after, picked up by the Soviets. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, as well as the UK version and the US version, as well as the Distinguished Service Cross and the Air Force Cross. So, hats off to you, Mr. Robert Tuck, and all you did for... Jesus, and another potential head-on collision there. But, anyways, yeah, hats off to you, Mr. Robert Tuck, and your service that you provided for your country, and the world, for that matter. That enemy plane seems to be coming back on me. I was keeping an eye on him there. And just doing a quick little dive. That's a KI-10. What is he going so slow? Doesn't matter now. Critical hit. He's on fire, and he's quickly going to be plummeting down the earth. I'm going to pull back around here and try to finish this guy off. So he's picking up speed here now. Scoring another hit. And there we go. Finally getting myself a kill there. As that bastard plummets down to the ground and celebrating with a nice little victory barrel roll. Kills are very few and far between for me in this game, but I am so addicted to the air combat now that I just can't stop playing. I find myself up till like 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a smoking ruin back there. I find myself a lot of times up till 2 o'clock in the morning playing this game because it's just the fighter combat is so much fun, and you're only going to get better with each game you play. So let that be a lesson to all you guys out there. If you're having as soon as I pull away, somebody out of nowhere, we got another Gladiator swooping in on me. So it's Gladiator versus Gladiator. I'm not sure what the specs are, or even how to interpret the specs for that matter. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Whoa, wait a minute. I survived. Oh God, come on, pull up, pull up, pull up. He managed to crash. That's what he gets, son of a bitch. My engine's dead though. I gotta put this bird on the ground. So yeah, most head-on collisions that you suffer in this game will result in your plane bursting into flames or just exploding on impact. This one was lucky for me. I managed to just touch down safely in the field without suffering much loss. As you can see all the damage to the windscreen there. Somebody's coming in on me. Yeah, once you land on the ground like that, you quickly become a sitting duck. And look at all those gauges. The interior cockpit's absolutely beautiful. So let's switch to something else. What you're looking at here is the OS-2U1 reconnaissance float plane, and well, it's a piece of garbage. I'll just be open with it. It's a piece of garbage. I'm sure its service record was fantastic during the war, and its pilots and gunners alike adored the plane. I would hope so. But in game, this thing is a dog turd. I haven't scored a single hit, I don't think, in this thing yet. And unfortunately, this is the rank 1 plane you have to unlock in order to continue down the tech tree to some more desirable aircraft. It was built to replace the aging biplane design. They wanted a carrier-based catapult-launched reconnaissance bomber type plane, so they came up with this thing, and it could successfully take off and land on water. And most notable is after the attack on Pearl Harbor, a bunch of these were sent to the carrier battleship fleets to replace all the losses suffered during the attack on Pearl Harbor. So it has a pretty good service record to it, but in game I am not a huge fan of this thing. And after playing about a half dozen games in this thing and getting rammed out of the sky and one-shotted and having my wings shot off as soon as I approached a target, I managed to come up with this. So one of the things about this plane is that it can't really gain altitude very well at all, and it kind of puts me in a very odd position where I'm sort of just below the bombers to where I can't really do any damage to them, and too high above the fighters to really perform any sort of effective maneuvers. So this thing, the bombs it carries that you first unlock aren't that spectacular to begin with as well. So for this battle, I'm attempting to go in here and try to take out these guys that are capturing this airfield and just kind of fight for my life as I flee the area here. Scoring a hit, not exactly taking out that plane though. That pilot of that plane is probably shitting his pants right now. And just performing some evasive maneuvers as I try to get out of here. Critical speed retract flaps. I don't have my flaps deployed. I don't know what the hell the damn thing's talking about. My engine's dead. So alright, in this one here, just performed a bombing run on some tanks, and I'm being engaged by another tank of my variant, or plane of my variant, and gunners opening up, scoring some. Motherfucker. So they say the third time's a charm, right? So let's try this again. As the enemy's fighting over the airfield down there, as I stated earlier, you know, it's like every single game I get into today is nothing but airfield captures. There's just no ground strike maps. So I spotted a group of tanks here. I'm gonna try and move in on them, do a bombing run. I only have two 250-pound bombs, so it's not like they're too effective. I pretty much need a near direct hit to kill one of these tanks. But I'm gonna try and drop this in between those two medium tanks right there. Drop my other one on the rear of the column, and maybe I'll get lucky and kill one and survive this. My tail gunner's already opening up. The second bomb's getting dropped. And off in the distance, we can spy ourselves a bow fighter. I'm going to get some hits on him before I pull out of this. He's turning into me. God damn it. Head-on pass. And this is just not my day. So after much screwing around in that OSU, I decided to switch over to my my fighter planes. Since it seems like all I'm going to be doing is airfield captures, I might as well have some fun with some of my American planes. This is my Buffalo. I can't remember its official designation. I have two of them right now. This is the I want to say the third variant. There's I think 3 different variants of this plane. Gotcha, motherfucker. But this one is not as nimble as the other one. It feels like it's a little bit more durable, but I have a brand new crew in it, so what do I know? Clearly nothing, as I just hit the dirt. Not, like I said, not as nimble as my the other one. You can see the other one is there with the yellow wings. I can't quite see what its designation is. F2A, is that what that says? Yeah. This is the Hawk, by the way. It's not a very well-known aircraft. It's best known as the predecessor to the Warhawk. It was built in the 30s and 40s. It was saw little combat during World War II. It was exported a lot. Saw combat against the Japanese by I think it was the French or something like that. But nevertheless, it wasn't a very well-known plane during World War II. Didn't see a whole lot of combat. It's not really that great in War Thunder either. It doesn't really have a very well turning radius, or very good turning radius, I should say. And putting down my landing gear, I'm coming in extremely too fast, making an attempt to try to capture this landing strip here, and oh, bounce. And coming in too hard, and there goes my wings. Oh man, War Thunder, you're so cruel to me sometimes. So I went ahead and hopped in my F2A1, trying to defend this airstrip a little bit. We got a these nuts in your mouth and his SPD-3 capturing our airstrip here. We're gonna mow him down as I head across, and of course only hit him once. Like, oh my god, the aiming and my lack of skill is it's just crazy. And this thing, it seems like these American planes, I just can't take any G's in these planes. The crew in this one is relatively experienced, but any slight turn, it's just the plane just can't handle it. Coming in on a head-on pass, almost scoring some more hits on that dude. I'm not sure if that was these nuts in your mouth. Yeah, that's him. He's in a Dauntless dive bomber. That's in order to unlock that plane, you have to suffer through the S2U or whatever the hell the damn plane was I was flying in earlier. So scoring some hits on his wings there, catching up on him too quick. I got to pull out. Looks like somebody's either behind me shooting at me, or I think that's exactly what it is. Or that could be the tail gunner, the Dauntless. I don't know. Nevertheless, we have an ally capturing A again, so that's good news. Not very many victories today for me in War Thunder. Lots of losses on these ground strike, or not ground strike, on these airfield capture maps. A lot of players don't seem to want to go for the airfields. They just want to stay up in the air and do dogfights, which, I mean, hey, I don't blame them for it. It's fun. Coming in on this Yak 1 now, scoring some hits on him as a side-on pass here. I believe there's a tail gunner on this Yak, so I got to be careful. Again, I'm not super familiar with aircraft. Scoring some hits on him, nothing major. My machine gun's reloading, it looks like. Just trying to stay on him. This guy does some really good defensive flying here. I need to work on my Russian aircraft so I can eventually unlock some Yaks. These are some pretty nice planes. In the several engagements that I've had against Yaks, they've been very agile, very durable, and they pack a good punch, so I have to spend some time in the Russian tree. Nice. Jesus, that Hurricane coming in there, spraying that Yak, trying to help me out. And what the... Friendly fire. That's just great. Thanks a lot. Nice friendly fire, jackass. I don't like talking shit in the chat, but when I'm right on somebody's six like that, why in the hell would you come on a head-on pass? I just don't know. I just don't know. To wrap up today's episode of Weekly War Thunder, we just couldn't finish an episode without showing you some tanks. This is my brand spanking new Panzer 3 L, I believe it is. Yeah, Panzer 3 L, and I'm absolutely loving this thing. It's essentially the same tank as the other Panzer 3 I was using, except this one has a 20mm armor plate over top of its 50mm frontal armor. So it's a little more durable from the front. And this is interesting. They fixed a number of things with War Thunder's replay. I'm in player view right now, which shows you exactly what I saw during the battle, so I have no control over the camera right now. However, the crosshair is not zeroed over top of exactly where I'm shooting. I have no idea why that is, but that's essentially what's happening here. Scoring my first kill there against a Stug from extremely long range. I did not want to hang out here in this spot. I was out in the open, and it's kind of a dangerous place to be. The point that we got to capture is up there, up on top of the hill, so that's where I was trying to go, because that's where I'm going to be shit, tree. But that's where I'm going to be of greatest use. So just pulling back here. We got a SU-122. Ooh, that was close. Scored a hit on him. He's backing up. That thing can destroy me if, or any other tank really, that it comes across. So I'm not trying to sit there and have a fist fight with Mike Tyson. So back on the road we go, heading up the hill. This tank's just so pretty. Over the course of playing War Thunder, I've really grown to enjoy the Panzer IIIs and the Panzer IVs. They're just the stereotypical design for everything a tank should be. So not to say that the Russians don't have bad or don't have good tanks, but I've just fallen in love with these Panzers. So really looking forward to the next patch, though. I've just learned that the next patch coming out, War Thunder, they're going to introduce American tanks finally. So look forward to a video from me showcasing some of the new American tanks that are going to be coming out. Rolling up on top of the hill here, the enemy currently hold A. We are losing points. There are some enemy tanks spotted up in the trees. I'm going to move to engage them. It's a T-34, it looks like, up there. Really wish that the replay would show the marker that I see. So I know there's a tank up there. Panzer IV, that's what that was. Panzer IV set on fire and taken out now. Free to advance. You see the smoke in the distance. Looks like we got a KV over there. Not sure if somebody took him out. Yeah, KV-1's been destroyed by a T-34. Okay. Time to move on up and capture A. Start getting some points on the board for the Allies here. Something else is right around this corner. T-34, hello, goodbye. Shadow Strike. One shot awarded. Excellent. Putting that T-34 out the pasture. Got a flak tank over there. Got to get behind cover here. At short range, a flak tank can be absolutely devastating. You never know what kind of ammunition they're firing, and they can make short work of even the toughest armored opponents. What in the world was that? That was not that loud when I was playing this game. Somebody having themselves a little dogfight up there. So we're just capturing A at this point. Just holding ground, waiting for the enemy now to come to us, because as long as we can hold A, the ticket counters are close enough to where we don't have to worry about much. We just got to wait for the enemy to come to us. So that's exactly what I plan on doing with that effectively 70 millimeters of frontal armor. Just kind of hanging out here, taking advantage of some cover there in the ruins. The T-34 over there on the ridge looks like he was taking some fire somewhere. That's alright. Now that A's been captured, it's time for us to move down and keep the pressure on the enemy. Looks like we just caught sight of something right around this corner here. God. So we got a T-34. Something's way over there. Shot off on him. This guy, me and him, were just playing tag with each other for a couple minutes here, taking hits from something. Got to pull back around that corner. No sense in hanging out there for too long. Artillery being called in. T-34, hello, Lord. Driving into your own artillery barrage, not a good idea, sir. Goodbye. Another Shadow Strike awarded to me. Just taking out T-34s left and right. KV-1 set on fire now. Yeah, there goes that KV-1. But there's one thing I've learned from all the time I've spent playing World of Tanks is it's how to take out a KV. T-34 making very good use of his frontal armor there. Taking a hit in return from that T-34 over there in the distance. Getting a shot off on him. been doing damage to that T-34 the whole time, but just unable to take that guy out. Just too far away, and he's making very good use of his armor and terrain. Ticket counter keeps dropping, though. It's another T-34. Goodbye. Just making graves out of this enemy team. Track's been damaged by that T-34 over there in the distance. Yeah, he's playing his tank very well. Nice hit on his cheek. My transmission's been damaged. Machine gunner's been wounded. Loader's been wounded. Took a hit from something. I'm not sure if it was that T-34 off in the distance or not. There's a tank destroyer down there somewhere as well, I can see on the map. This battle's almost wrapped up here. We've managed to get up here and capture that point and keep the enemy from recapturing. Track and suspension's been damaged. Somebody's firing high explosive at me. It's interesting. Now all we're really going to do is just wait for this battle to end. Another T-34 coming around the corner here. What are you doing, man? He's not even pointing the turret at me. Does he even know I'm here? Maybe his turret ring's jammed. Doesn't matter now. 7 kills now on the board for me as that T-34 has been wiped out, and that makes for a good game. Well, that just about does it for this week's episode of Weekly War Thunder. And as you gaze upon the unsightly form of the OS2U1, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you guys, hit that like button down below if you liked today's video. Comment if you have a comment or a question for me, and tell a friend. My Steam and gamer tag is available down in the comments if you want to hit me up and play a game with me. I would love it. Who knows, you might wind up on an episode of Weekly War Thunder. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it, and take care. I'll see you in the next video.